You're listening to the Sunday Night Blues here on Jazz 88. My name's Tom Townsley. Hope you're enjoying the program. Up next, we have a cut by the King Snakes. Back in the mid to late 80s, the King Snakes definitely ruled their den. They ruled the blues scene here in central New York. Pete McMahon on harmonica, Terry Mulhauser on the guitar, Paul Arand on the bass, and Lou Maselli and or Mark Tifo on the drums. And they pretty much captured a crowd that went beyond the blues, hardcore blues crowd that was here, like Triple Shot or the Otis Lee Band. And a New Times ad about nappies and about the King Snakes, and sure enough, as a result, at least in part of that article, the club began to fill up. Along with the King Snakes came the birth of Blue Wave Records. They were the first act that Greg Spencer recorded with Blue Wave, and because the band became so popular, Blue Wave as a label was able to be launched. That's She's Tough, and you heard it right here at the home of the blues, Jazz 88.
You ought to see my baby when she walk down the street. She's upsetting everybody she meets. She's 23 in the waist, she's 38 in the hips. She got long black wavy hair and ruby red lips. She's tough. Ooh, she's tough. My baby's tough. She's rough and tough. And that's tough enough. She walked past the clock won't tell time. Walk through the college, professor loses his mind, 'cause she's tough. Ooh, she's tough. My baby's tough, she's rough and tough. And that's tough enough.
And they certainly had the right product, the right package. They were a very tight band, great arrangements. They'd obviously spent a lot of time honing their material. They put on a pretty high energy show. Not that any of them individually were really, gymnastic types of performers. In fact, if anything, they had a somewhat stoic stage demeanor, but the music had such energy that I think it just managed to reach a lot of people at the right time. I'm sure that the popularity of the blues around town caused this program to be expanded from 2 hours to 4 hours. So the King Snakes may indeed have had some part to play in that, and hopefully this program had some part to play in helping to popularize them as well. I think a lot of other blues bands sprang up because of the King Snakes, because people saw how well that music was going over. Although the better of the blues bands that sprang up, I think sprang up because those people also loved blues music. And it was just catching on at that time in general. But the King Snakes were the first really popular blues band. They were the first ones to record, to have their own record out. The record did really well, and then of course eventually they were going on and touring with John Lee Hooker, playing with him at the Chicago Blues Festival, and but they really brought this town alive, and I think made it aware of blues. There had always been a sort of hardcore blues crowd before that, but the King Snakes really made a crossover, and so for that reason they're the sort of blues ambassadors, I guess, of Central New York, and a lot of the other things that have happened since probably wouldn't have happened without the success they had and the roads that they paved. I don't know that there's ever been a definitive Syracuse blues style. The King Snakes, again, may be what defines it for a lot of people because their records have gotten out there more than probably anyone else's, and some of the other blue wave stuff, has a certain power and edge that, may characterize it. But when I think about all the different bands over the years, what's interesting is that each one has really had its own kind of flavor.
Twister was just ready to, take off.